Okay. All right, friends, so I'm going to do a little introduction. So this is Nick Poyner, and he works at the Specialists, where they make props and they do practical effects for movies and TV shows all up and down the East Coast. And Nick and I went to high school together. So it's fun for me to see my friend from high school in this cool position. And I'm excited to share him with you all. So Nick's going to give us a tour and talk to us about how he got into this position. You'll have an opportunity to ask questions at the end. You can either type them in the chat and I can ask them, or you can unmute yourselves and you can ask the questions yourself. All right, Nick, take it away.
Okay, so yes, I work for a company called the Specialists Ltd, and we're in New York City. We used to be in Soho, but we kind of just expanded too much and we had to get a much larger space. So now we're in a pretty big warehouse in a different location, undisclosed location of New York. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the very beginning of the building, and then we're actually going to jump to one of our main show vaults of guns that we show clients, because the guy that's going to open it for us is trying to get out of here to go see his new baby. So let me switch cameras here. How do we do this? Okay. So nothing much here, entrance, and then we come in here, and this is our reception. And one of the cool things about working here, it's a huge fabrication shop. So a small example is just this sneeze guard for COVID. We were able to make this all in-house. This big long thing, we have the machines that you'll see later on, and we could cut this all out here instead of having to outsource it, you know, and go to some other person and then they'd have to come and deliver it. So just, you know, your typical waiting room for clients to sit down, and then we'll make our way down the first hallway. Have these large prints. These are from a Las Vegas-based artist. Does these prints, and we display them for him. So I'm gonna grab Sam, one moment. I'm gonna block you out for a sec.
This is high-tech security stuff. We're not privy to it.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, so this is our first show vault. So a lot of these guns were shown in movies, and the main purpose of this vault is to bring clients, producers, directors, even actors come in, and they can just decide what they think is going to be best for the scene or for the character or anything. So, you know, some of these are pretty fancy, very ornate, but none of these are real. These are all blank firing guns for Hollywood, so safe. But yeah, this is a nice room. So that's a flamethrower, that's fun. What's another fun one? We have a cane gun somewhere. But anyway, so yeah, this is a nice first area for clients to see and give them kind of the wow factor. So there's the cane, classic cane gun right there, like the penguin. All right,
and this is how the business got started, right, Nick? That it was started right, where it was just prop guns.
The owner of the company, back in the day, early 80s, just, you know, kind of a gun collector, would rent out, you know, firearms to productions, and then that got bigger and bigger, and then we started doing fabrication, and then that's kind of where the props took off. Custom fabricated props, special effects, car rentals, graphics, and you'll see all that stuff later. So that's that. That's the first vault. We'll step out here. Let me grab Sam. One moment. Thank you very much. Yeah, we can close it up. We're good. All right, and this is our sales area. This is Sean. Nice guy, Sean. So it's a little slim right now. We've been out of commission for a while, but ramping back up. So now we're going to enter the main area. this is what I make, and you'll see the room where I make all these. So all these black boxes, these are all molds of guns. So this is silicone. This is a big gun. So you open this, there's a Desert Eagle. So we took one of the guns from the vault, the room that you just saw, and like, again, I'll show you later, and we pour a silicone on top of it into 2 halves, and then you can close it up, and there'll be a pour spout, and you can pour your resin in there, you know, your soft foam, your hard resin, and that'll be the new prop gun. So these are all different types of guns that we've made, including these guys. And now we're gonna actually skip over real quick to the second vault because that employee is also trying to get out of here. So 1 second, let me black you out. Okay, all right. So now we're in the metal fabrication shop. We have another private vault and another vault. So this is John.
Hello.
Hey guys. So John, would you like to explain what exactly happens here?
You want me to give you the 5-minute short version?
Yeah, it's quick.
So this is our entertainment blank firing inventory. So all these guns started life as real guns, but then we've done modifications to them to make them cycle and work properly running blank ammo.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So that's the basics of it. You know, they all were real, or were real firing guns at one point. And then we take them and modify them to shoot only blanks. So no one's shooting real bullets on set.
Yeah, if you want to see what happens when you use the wrong load strength and don't talk to us, this was I believe, a UConn theater student that told us the gun didn't need to fire and then went to an Army-Navy store and bought military blanks.
Yep, so that person did not know what they were doing. They put the wrong load strength. So there's different strengths of your blanks. You know, there's half loads, full loads. Full loads are obviously the loudest. Half loads a little quieter. And then I think New York City even has a custom load.
New York load, yeah. It's something we came up with for, I believe, 1 or 2 of the scenes in The Dark Knight.
Oh, okay. So when they were shooting The Dark Knight, you know, 10 years ago or whatever now, 12 years, they wanted it to be really quiet, I guess, you know, for New Yorkers, such a quiet bunch. And they had to come up with a custom load for that. So these are just racks and racks, different types of guns. There's some cool historical guns, right?
Yeah, actually, you have to forgive things. Before COVID, we were in the process of adding an extra rack and moving.
Oh, sure.
So, like, let's start off with some fun stuff. This right here is, unfortunately, it is not Nazi stamped, but it is an MG42. Which is what the Nazis used during World War II. So this is what...
That would be on Normandy, probably?
Yeah, when our guys were storming the beaches at Normandy, they had this shooting at them.
Yeah. There's an old Nazi gun. And then we have some, like, super old, what are these, colonial guns over here?
Yeah, so these are a mix. So
We've got a question in the chat about how hard is it to modify a gun to fire just blanks?
These were...
Hold on 1 sec. Oh, sorry, John. Real quick, John, how hard is it to take a real gun and modify it to a Hollywood gun?
So that kind of depends on what the gun was to start with. So something like this, where it's what we call manually operated, where it won't, you know, it doesn't chamber the next round because it's a single shot gun. Something like this is on the easier side.
But like a new submachine gun or something? A little trickier.
Those take the work of our machinist JD, who currently isn't here at the moment. But yeah, they take a fair bit of work.
Okay.
We have to do things to them that would make them unsafe, because one of the things New York City is concerned about is people stealing prop firearms from set and then trying to convert them back. Yeah, we have to do our best to make sure that they would spontaneously disassemble themselves if somebody tried to do it.
Totally. All right, we're gonna move on. Thank you so much, John.
No problem.
And we might as well finish off the metal shop. So
yeah. Oh, Nick, we've got one more question for John before you take off. One of our teens wants to know: is it a fun job modifying the guns to make them into prop guns?
John, one of our viewers wants to know, is it fun?
I mean, I'm one of a handful of people who gets to drive around New York City with machine guns and drop them off at movie sets to our armorers. So yeah, I also get to shoot machine guns for essentially a living. So I'm happy at least. Yeah,
it's totally fun. There's probably a special level of exclusivity you have in there. But so all those guns that shoot blanks, I'm going to show you what blank bullets look like. So these are all the different loads and all the different kinds of bullets that would go in whatever gun they're appropriate to. So a blank doesn't look like your typical bullet. Let me open this. So we all know what a bullet looks like. They look normal from the back, and they're labeled special, so you know what they are. But on the front, instead of being a bullet, it's this little crimped guy. So there's no actual projectile, but it is full of black powder, gunpowder. So when the primer does get hit by the hammer of the gun, it will, make a muzzle flash. It'll cycle the gun, so the shell will pop out like a real gun. So yeah, no actual bullets coming out of anything, but they're still dangerous. Don't think that blank firing guns are super safe. They are dangerous, and we do have our professionals go on set to make sure that there's no funny business going on and actors are responsible and treat them appropriately. So these are all blanks. So we have a lot of those.
Okay, we've got another question, Nick. Sure. Has anyone, actually, I guess you kind of showed us this already, but has someone broken a prop gun before, and like what happens if they do?
Yeah, I think every department has a, every department has a damage fee. So any prop or any gun or whatever that comes back damaged, they're going to be charged for that. But specifically a gun, that's why we have the professional gunsmiths here, the machinists. If it does come back broken, they can fix it. And that's also another reason why we have people go on set. If a gun does get jammed, because that happens, our guys are, especially qualified to be able to deal with that situation where an actor would just throw it on the ground or something. They wouldn't know what to do.
Gotcha. Okay, we've got some more questions. Our teams have lots of questions, Nick.
Cool.
So how many guns do you think you have, and how many bullets do you have?
All right, John, how many guns do you think we have?
In this building alone, I would say there's easily north of 5,000 firearms.
All right, so a little.
Because on that wall, that back wall, that's at least 2,000 handguns.
All right, so we probably have a little over 5,000. Yeah,
wow,
that's a bunch.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and how many bullets do we have?
Live ammo, we don't have any, but in terms of our blank inventory, we have on hand. I think our permit is for like 400,000 or 500,000 rounds.
Okay, so about half a million.
I don't think we have that currently. I think we're closer to like 2 or something.
Okay, so all these guns and all these bullets, this is our lovely wall of certifications that we have to have by many different departments. ATF, NYPD, FDNY. You don't just start a gun business. You have to get so many different certifications and qualifications and licenses to consider to not be a terrorist, pretty much. So everything here is very professional, and we do get checked by the appropriate authorities. So it's not easy, and it takes time and money to run something like this. But so this is our main machining. Guns do get worked on here, but also custom metal fabrication as well, like anything, super random stuff. But this is custom fabrication. This is a nice mill machine, a metal lathe. And we'll come over here to the really high-tech stuff. So here we have a metal 3D printer. So this whole thing is a 3D printer, but it prints in metal. It can do stainless steel, titanium, and something else. I can't remember. And here's a little example. So this is stainless steel. So very cool. And I don't know if you can see in there, but over here, this is super fine powder. So that's metal powder. And a sheet of it gets laid onto this slab of metal. And then a laser somewhere up there comes down and heats up that layer of metal, brushes it off, all the excess, and then it repeats that process until it builds and builds up. So this guy, you know, started off very low and it built upwards. And we do a lot of fabrication with that. You can do, like this guy, this would be for medical purposes. This would actually be a hip joint. So the bone would go in there and then the other bone would grow into this spongy material. So it's like this lightweight spongy material so your bone can grow into it and really hook into yourself. So that's like a hip replacement right there. So that's the metal 3D printer. And then this is our 4 or 5 axis CNC machine. So if we come over here, open these up, we have a piece in there. And then this bit kind of just shapes everything out. So this thing is has many possibilities and capabilities. So a lot of fabrication happens there. It's another cool machine. And then we show you, this room is pretty fun. This is where we have, when we have actors come in and they need to learn how to fire a weapon. If they've never done that before, they want to look really, you know, authentic on camera. So they'll come in here, lights on, and they'll just fire the gun into that block right there. So we have all these shells. I'm going here. All these spent shells. So this is where the actors come to train. They get a kick out of it. And just more machine tools. So that is basically the metal shop. And now we'll move outside to the main area. Can you hear me out here?
Yep, we can hear you okay.
Okay, kind of loud. So here's a big project we have going on right now. I don't really know exactly what it is, but I think the stunt is actors have to be able to jump onto this cubicle. This is like an office cubicle. They have to be able to jump on it and maybe dance or something. So we had to make it really, really sturdy. Kind of a weird, boring job. But we'll go in here and turn the light on. And this is a giant CNC machine. So as you can see, we had to have this entire room built just for this machine. So we can put foam, wood, a lot of different materials onto this, and it gets programmed into that room in the computer, and it'll send that file to this machine, and it'll cut out whatever shape you need. So we've done like, for one of the Marvel Netflix shows, I think an actor had to throw a motorcycle, you know, like superhuman strength, had to throw a motorcycle. So this machine cut out a foam motorcycle, so it was really lightweight, probably like 10, 15 pounds, and they could throw it and do whatever they needed to with it. So that's a very cool machine. We'll move on out. That's CNC machine. We'll go to the wood shop real quick. It's kind of loud. This is our wood shop. Very useful to have a wood shop, and all of our materials, a lot of different wood. And now we will go, let's go to graphics.
How many people work at the company with you, Nick?
Well, right now, not that many, but usually.
Under normal circumstances, yeah.
Right. It's probably like 50 to 60 people. And out of that 60, I would say 30 of them are in-house. Because a lot of them are, you know, they're on set, again, for the armoring, the weapons. But yeah, there's probably like 30 to 40 people that are, you know, 9 to 5 fabricators at the building.
Cool.
So this is graphics. This is where we do a lot of two-dimensional stuff, printing of any kind. So we'll start with this. This big guy is one printer. It's a really cool printer because it not only prints, but it can fold and staple books at the same time. So we made this little catalog. So that machine can fold paper, print paper, copy, do whatever. And then this big guy, this is a UV printer. This lays down a special ink, and then this big guy rolls over that and shines a UV light on that layer of ink, and it cures it immediately. So we use that a lot for license plates. So like this license plate, as you can see, it's raised up a couple, centimeters, like a regular license plate. So this is all just built up ink. So in movies, license plates have to be obviously fake, but they can't match a real life car's license plate. Even the pattern sometimes has to be different. So we do all different states, all different countries. If we need like, a British license plate, we'll do those. And then here's our lovely display of random products. So if a production doesn't have a deal with, let's say, Coca-Cola, they can't legally use Coca-Cola brand in their production, so we'll have to make up a brand like this. So it's just cola. That's not Budweiser, that's Brightman, or Doug Light. All these fake brands that everyone in here gets to have fun making up. And then those are stickers that they get printed out and then glued onto a real bottle. Or like a soda can will get wrapped like that. But we also do driver's licenses for every state. And
do you have an Iowa driver's license you can show us?
Oh yeah, let's look at Iowa. Let's see. Ohio. Where's Iowa? There's Iowa right there. I don't know if it's up to date or not. I don't know what you guys look like out there.
Yeah, I think that looks like what mine looks like.
All right, cool. Yeah, so we, a big side business for everyone here is printing out fake driver's license for kids to go to clubs and stuff. So here's some more fake foods.
Just kidding, just kidding.
Just kidding, don't do that. Fake candy, Smirchies. And then what else do we do in here? So these are more printers. These can do like really long banners, a billboard or something. Stickers, and these machines are cool because they also cut out the shape as well. So there's a little razor in there. If the sticker, like you saw in the bottles or something, has to be a specific shape, this will not only print it, but a razor will cut out the shape. And over here, I think we had an order for like 175 or something, 100 bottles that have to be printed. So we have our little bottle caps. They get put into this fun machine and then pressed down. So we're making custom bottles. That's fun. So then we'll go in here, laser room. These are two very cool machines as well. This is a little laser. So the file gets designed onto a computer out there and then sent to this laser, and you put your material in this bed, and the little laser right there will laser out whatever material. It can get very, very fine detail. And here's just a bigger version. That's the actual laser right there. So you can lay down whatever can fit in there. Here's an example. So this is wood, and this is actually engraved. So you can get like photorealistic finishes from the laser. Very cool. I think it's cool.
So you've got a lot of machines that print
Sure.
and cut things. How do you decide which machine to use for which product?
Well, I guess, so the way this whole company works is a production, a TV show or a movie will have a script written, and then they'll have a production meeting, and they will break down every single thing that needs to get fabricated. So, if there's like, again, the fake motorcycle for the Marvel show, like, oh, okay, this guy's going to throw a motorcycle. Well, we have to get that made. So then they'll come to us. We'll have a meeting with that production team or that prop master or director or whatever, and we will decide what is the most appropriate way to go about making that. Is that going to come to molding and casting, my department? Is that going to go to a CNC machine, a different department? what's the fastest, most cost effective, and obviously will look the best in the end. So it kind of just depends. Like, we have to discuss what's going to be the most appropriate way to produce the best product. So it all depends.
Cool, that makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense. So that's graphics, some offices. There's Olivia hanging out. So now let's move on to, let's go to the big warehouse where we can see Cassie's favorite prop in the whole world. So we're gonna go
Yes, I know what
here.
we're doing. I'm excited.
It's, let's not talk it up. Blow it out of proportion. Turn some lights on. Oh, cool. Hey, man. So this is our warehouse where we have probably 80 to 90% of our props that are already made and that people can look at and decide what they want. A lot of uniforms, some costumes. We do have fake guns up here, but they're not blank firing. We keep all the blank firing ones in the vault. So we got some creepy kids in a bucket, some baby dolls. So we can look at some police uniforms. So as you know, there's a lot of cop shows out there and a lot of them take place in New York City. So we outfit all of those guys, you know, SWAT, Army, police. Here's some props, some shackles. Looks like this is going out for some production. Nice. So more uniforms. Police belts. So cop belts are, they're actually put together in a very specific way. You know, you have to have 2 gun magazines, you know, your can of mace, whatever. So those all get assembled. So let's start with aisle number 1. So here we have many different kinds of badges. Detective badge, you know, sheriffs, these are all different types of badges. What's this? What do we have here? This is a medical emergency guy. What's who's here?
And so your company has made all of these, right? And then productions can rent them out without you having to custom make them every time?
A lot of these are probably bought from a specific person that probably has a special license to, you know, fabricate these things. You can't just go around making fake cop badges. But yeah, so then we'll buy them from him or from whoever makes them and dress up cops. And then we have our gun holsters for the police, walkies, and so in my department, you'll see later, we actually made these. So these would be what we call holster stuffers. If there's a big scene with, you know, like 40 cops, these are just quickly made resin walkie-talkies. They're not real. We do have real ones, but for the most part, these are for background police. They don't need to be seen a lot. And then, of course, you gotta have your handcuffs. So this is like, I would say, mostly police stuff. Riot mace, very relevant these days. And more belts. Let's go to aisle number skeleton. So this looks like, here's some body parts, some science laboratory stuff, your beakers.
I think, oh, there we go.
We're
Your
working on the
video was
COVID
frozen
vaccine
for a
right now.
second, but we're back.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Crossing. And here's your narcotics department. And now we're gonna move into some of the stuff that comes out of my department, the molding and casting department.
Okay,
So
cool. We've got a quick question. Quick question from one of our teens. He wants to know if you have a Batman bag. Do you know what that is?
Like a Batman utility belt with all of his cool toys and gadgets?
Maybe. He says he saw it in Lego Batman.
Oh. I don't think we do. That would be cool, though. I wish we did have that. Maybe one day we'll get a Batman bag. Yeah, sorry. Sorry, we're disappointed. So in my department, one of the main purposes is for stunt people. and for stunt props to be made.
I'm sorry, we got some clarification. A Batman badge, not a Batman bag.
Oh,
so you've got all like the
cool.
police badges and stuff. Do you have a Batman one?
Oh, no, that would be even cooler. Well, I would probably be wearing that right now if we did have it. So no Batman badge. Sorry, guys. So we take a lot of real life objects and we will mold them. And again, you'll see this later in how it's done. And then we will cast them in a soft, squishy material. So let's say, for instance, somebody needs to have a cinder block or a brick dropped on their head. They're not gonna drop a real one. They're gonna make a nice squishy one. So this is soft and squishy, lightweight, doesn't weigh anything. So that can be tossed at a person. This little carafe here, squishy, that can be tossed at a person. So your meat tenderizer, squishy. And then we have some weights, some dumbbells, whoop, fake, kettlebell, squishy. And then, oh my gosh, what do we have here? Oh my goodness, is this a shovel? This is like a real shovel, right? I don't think so. This is a fake shovel. So this is like a fake shovel. Let me just get a good shot on that for Cassie. So a lot of people get hit with shovels in movies. I don't know if you've ever noticed that. And that would hurt if it was real. So we make these fake shovels and they're nice and squishy and soft. So that's one of them. Oh, there's still some blood from set on this one. So all these guys, there's another one. And then, what was the other thing, Cassie? Oh, the iron.
The tire iron.
Oh, the tire iron. Okay, let's see.
Do you have a clothes iron that is squishy?
We definitely did have a clothes iron. All right, let me look for it. We have this lovely pink phone, squishy phone with a cord.
We've got a question. What are those props made out of? Are they all made out of the same foam and then just painted to look different?
So again, they can get very specific with what they want. They can have a medium density, a hard density, a super, super soft density. But for the most part, with the mold, we'll do a layer of a semi-rigid, so like a pretty squishy resin, like a rubber, pretty much, like a balloon or something. And then we'll close the mold, and then we'll fill it with an expanding foam. So it starts off as a two-part component, and I'll show you guys this later. Two-part component gets mixed together and then poured into the mold, and that will expand, and then it'll get sent up to paint and then painted. So here's a fake hammer. So the tire irons, it's like this guy. Like that.
Oh, our video froze. Can you do it one more time?
Yeah. This guy. So it's just your regular tire iron, but it's fake. So these are nice and squishy. That, and then the club. A lot of clubs. Someone's gonna get whacked with this.
I don't know that they know what that is here. I know, right?
Yeah, it's just an anti-theft for cars. Lightweight
people
wrench.
used to put those on their steering wheel so that if someone tried to steal their car, they couldn't drive it.
Yeah, I think that might have been one of the first things I ever molded here. And then just classic 2x4. So that's nice and squishy. And I'll take you to the painting department who paints all this stuff. So what we have? These are fireman's axe. Fireman's axe. Soft. So let's go to the next aisle. Looks like we got some like riot gear, some helmets, and it's just a bunch of helmets really. But it's just rows and rows of stuff. We have a headless skeleton because I stole the head off of it. Here's some kegs, lightweight kegs. This is the fake one. It's the real one. That was a pain. A lot of military attire, and here's some more stock fake products from graphics shop. Oh, there's a lot. Yeah, so here's all the different license plates they made. Let's see if there's an Iowa. So Ohio, Iowa, Idaho. I don't know. Hey, I don't know what generation this is. Is that the current one?
Nope, those are the old ones.
Oh, old. Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, guys.
And the graphics are a little different than what they are here, so that makes
really?
sense. Yeah, the background. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Oh, and this stuff is very cool, guys. I might have some examples in the mold shop I can show you later, but all these things wrapped in bubble wrap are specifically wrapped very safely because they're breakaway. So here's like a bowl that looks real, but could be smashed very easily and very safely onto someone's face or something. If there's like a bar fight, you can take a bottle, like here's a liquor bottle, and you can throw it at someone. So it's a material that is very, very brittle, and you can just easily crush with your hand, like a drinking glass or something. So these guys are very cool, but they're very fragile, so I don't want to pick any of them up. So here's some stuff that we made. Again, background, characters. Doesn't need to look great, just needs to be, you know, present. So a lot of this are just resin props. Here's some tasers, bunch of fake tasers. And here's some gold guys. Nice and gaudy. All right, next. So here's our wall of weapons. Again, these are not blank firing guns. These are just replicas, they call them. So they're just plastic. They look real, but they don't actually shoot anything. So a lot of weapons here. Some cool swords over here. Here's some cool medieval stuff.
Oh, I think we got a frozen video again.
Some chainmail. All right, some bombs. Gotta have your bombs. So that's pretty much the warehouse. Why don't we? It's endless. It just keeps going. Let's move. Here's a real quick. Here's a guy we made a long time ago. So this guy had his skull removed, and then on set they put the blood on him and everything. Suit of armor. So I'll go across here. We're gonna head into the 3D printing room, where we do a lot of the resin 3D printing. So we have a bunch of different 3D printers in here. Here's a really nice big one, smaller. They print in different resolutions. So some are kind of just really industrial and they can do big parts, and others do smaller, more detailed, high definition parts. And here's some examples of things over here. So these are all 3D printed. These guys, action figures, that. And it gets pretty good detail. So a lot of this stuff, that's cool. Guy's face, once again. And you know, this guy's actually pretty nice. Here's just a fun. So this was 3D printed, so it gets these really fine details. Get in focus. So the 3D printers are very cool and have a lot of capabilities. So as you can see, we're designing some things right here. That will then get 3D printed. Here's a little person. And we just got a brand new one today. These are new guys. So those are new. I don't even know much about those, but so that's our 3D printing, and this is the machine where once we get the 3D print, we'll put it in this machine, and then it'll tumble it around and kind of soften the edges and smooth it out. It basically sands it for you, so you don't have to. So that's 3D printing. This is just fabrication. Smile it on. We'll go up to the painting department. Go up the spiral stairs. Let's see New York City out there. So this is the paint department. So when I'm done making something in my department, it will come up here. So they have all these props, and they'll get painted up here to look realistic. So all these things that we made in the molding department, then later come up here to get trimmed. So you have this guy, nice and trimmed. When it comes out of the mold, it looks all crummy like this. So all this fly is trimmed off, and then it'll get painted up, nice and silvery.
Oh, I think we lost you, Nick.
Take the prop, put it in here, and spray paint it, and this will suck all the vapors down. Another spray booth. And then this. Turn the light on. A very large spray booth. So if we have a really big prop, let's say like that motorcycle I keep bringing up, needs to get spray painted, we'll put it in this guy, and all those filters will suck all the bad fumes away. So that's a cool machine. So that's the painting. Turn the light off. So we have all these different types of paint. And we open up these guys. These are like metallic metal spray paints. And then just spray paints. And they all have to be kept in these, you know, fireproof cabinets when we get inspected. So very secure. So let's go downstairs. I'll take you to, I think we have 2 more stops. The mold inventory. So this is the mold inventory. These are filled.
Oh, I think we lost you again, Nick.
That came from this. So this is what a 2-part is.
Can you show us what that makes again? The video cut out for a minute.
Oh yeah, remember the meat tenderizer, the silver meat tenderizer upstairs?
Yeah.
So this is the mold for that. So we'll take the real thing and we will make a box for it, put it in the box, pour silicone on it, cut it in half. So it's like that. And then we'll close this up. And then there's your little pour spout. And all your material gets poured in there, like your expanding foam. And then when it's all done, you just open it up and take it out. And that's your prop.
Cool. We've got a question. Do you ever make animals for props?
Oh, yeah. Oh, you'll see an animal as soon as we walk into the mold shop. We got an animal waiting for us. And here's some animals. These are fish molds. Let me get another fish mold for you. It's so messy. Yeah, we have a whole bin of animal molds. A lot of fish. A lot of productions like their fish. So that's a big fish mold. This is that's actually a dog. I know they look like nothing. They just look like blobs of just nothing. But if I were to, here's an octopus. That's an octopus for a Marvel show on Netflix. What's this? Get this out. Okay.
So how do you make the animal molds? You can't put an actual animal in there and fill it with
fish.
foam, right? Or fill it with
we don't.
silicone?
Nope. So this was a koi fish for a show, and we didn't go out and buy a koi fish and kill it. We actually had to sculpt this from scratch. This was sculpted, and then we put a mold on that. Like any other mold, you close it up, you pour your material down the hole, and then you have your fish. So yeah, a lot of things like the octopus had to be molded or sculpted from scratch. It's a lot of work, and these are all different body part molds you'll see later. Those are some special effects stuff. There's another fish, the wild fish.
Okay, all right, Nick. We only have about 10 minutes left. Do you want to show us one more stop, and then we can ask some more questions?
Yeah, we'll go to the cool stuff. And you wanted an animal? There's your animal. Yeah. So there's a deer. So again, we had the production come by, I think just yesterday, and they wanted to make sure it looked the way they wanted it to. So basically what the production wants, they want this to be essentially dying but still breathing. So they still want, you know, that kind of motion. So we hooked up this tube. This will get hooked into a air compressor, and it'll create that up and down of the stomach. So that's a fake deer for you. And I brought this mold out. This is a full male. So you open it up. So it's a two-part like that. And you close it, and you can just, or for something this big, you don't usually pour the material straight in. You paint it in both sides, and then you close it, and then you can pour the foam in, and that will fill up. But here's some of the fun stuff. So, you know, if there was a burnt victim, a car accident or something, some organs, and what do we have? Let's see, a frozen man, some heads, an old rotting man, some fake teeth, a fake nose.
And for the faces, you do those on actual people, right?
Yeah, so we'll have the actor come in and we will life cast them, which is basically putting goo all over the real person, and that will harden up. And then we have an impression of their face. So now we have a mold of that face. So here's the head, and we have to do all the eyebrows and eyelashes individually. So that's a nice guy right there. Skulls, bunch of heads up there.
How long does the actor need to be there to do the life cast? Like how many hours does it take?
So this was a real human, and we life cast him. This was an all-day process, but we do it in sections. So we'll do like from the neck to the torso and the arms in one section. We'll give him a break. We'll do the legs, give him a break, then we'll do the head last usually. But it's about 8 hours, so that's an all-day thing. But for just the head, we can do it in like under 2 hours, or like an arm, that's about an hour. So that's where I work. So what do we have? That's a very weird mold to look at. I'm trying to think of a. So these are all, I was talking about, are different chemicals. So a lot of the expanding foams. This is a flexible foam. Foam at 3. A lot of these are two-part components that get mixed together, stir it up real quick, and then you pour it into the mold. And you can make tentacles, fun things like that. And what else? We have, we need an oven, always nice to have. This is our electroplating, where we can take metal objects, dip them in special solutions, and they will turn them, you know, make them look metal. So there's a show on Netflix right now about kids treasure hunting. So they're not going to get real bars of gold. These are just brass bars that we then electroplate to look gold. So this coin started off just a copper coin, and then I just dipped half of it into the gold solution. So now half of it's gold. So it's like alchemy. And just polishing wheels, and that's about it. Here's a nice big mold. It's a big guy. It's for a Ben Stiller project. Here's my girlfriend. She's hanging out on the floor. Got a little gym. This is a cool machine. This is a vacuform. So this can, it's hard to explain, but you basically put a shape on this thing and it will raise up into a sheet of hot plastic and it will make that exact shape. Here's a bad example. I don't know if you can see that. But anyway, that's about it. We can go on to questions now.
Cool, awesome. Thanks for the tour, Nick.
No problem.
I think we had lots of questions come up while we were walking around, which was awesome. You answered them.
Yeah, let's do it.
But I've got a couple questions about how you got this job. So, so how much of the work that you do for your job did you learn at school, and how much of it did you learn, you know, from your hands-on experience at your job?
Okay, that's a great question. Let me switch over. You can see what my stupid face looks like. All right. Hold on one sec. Okay.
I guess I should preface this with, I shared this information in our handout, but Nick went to school for art. So he has a degree in art, which helps with all of the sculpture and everything that he has to do for his job.
Yeah. So to answer your question, yeah, I did go to school for sculpture because I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do special effects and make props. So at my school, I kind of taught a lot of this to myself, but we did have a molding and casting class that only went so far. So I had, you know, special custom projects I wanted to do. So a lot of internet research. And then once I got to this job, I did get introduced to a lot more materials, a whole variety of materials and just different techniques on how to do things. So I would say from college to this job, I learned probably 70% of my knowledge came from the job. And, you know, we're always learning, still learning different stuff, new materials. There's always new stuff coming out. So it's a constant thing.
Awesome. Okay, I think, let's see, somebody wanted to ask a question. If you want to ask, you can unmute yourselves and you can ask, or you can type it in the chat. Oh, Sam has a question. He wants to know if the golden gun that we saw earlier was used in a Bond movie. Do you know?
The golden gun. I don't know. I'm going to say probably not. So the way it works is the specialists are the big guys on the East Coast. We kind of handle all the productions on the East Coast. And then there's another company on the West Coast in Hollywood that handles all that. And the Bond movies are most likely shot on the West Coast or international. So they don't typically come through us unless they're doing a scene shot in New York. They will use us, but that specific golden gun, probably not. That was probably for, like, you know, some tricked out gangster or something that needed some gaudy gold gun.
Gotcha.
Okay, because that was from my favorite Bond movie.
Yeah, I know. The golden gun's awesome.
Bond movie. Yeah.
That would be cool to work on a Bond movie. Maybe one day.
Yeah. What's your favorite movie or show that you've worked on, and why?
Okay, so we do a lot of big productions, but I would say those get kind of stale after a while. So the smaller productions are probably more my favorite. I've told Cassie this because with the smaller productions, they don't really have to worry about a big studio or anything, and they kind of have more creativity and more freedom. So they give us more interesting projects. But my partner that was in the mold shop, we recently just did a little horror movie project, and we just got to do some fun stuff that most likely wouldn't come through a big production, a big, you know, New York, East Coast network television show. So I guess to answer the question, you probably haven't heard of whatever my favorite thing is. I don't even remember the titles. That's the thing with this job. You don't even know what it's for. You just know the prop you're working on. a lot of the stuff I do, I have no idea where it's even going. Like we have papers that tell us, but it's just like, do this and do it by this time. So kind of all blends together after a while. But anything horror based or anything special effects based is going to be my main interest.
Cool. Do you have any advice for young people who are thinking about getting into practical effects? Is there anything they should be doing now to prepare for that?
Well, yeah, the easiest thing to do now to prepare for that is to just watch movies. You know, get inspired, get motivated. You don't have to jump into it and spend a bunch of money on materials and do a bunch of guesswork. Just watch movies that have practical effects or props or whatever, and just build up your interest. And then once that interest gets to a certain point where you're ready to take that to the hobby level, you know, YouTube is just the best. That's what I started in college with, and you'll just pick up tips. People in this industry are very sharing. They give a lot of their tips and secrets away. So watch movies, get on YouTube, look at tutorials, and then start buying materials and messing around with stuff. And then if that continues, then think about where to take that, you know, after high school or whatever.
Awesome. I don't know if you can hear the siren in the background. That means it's 5 o'clock here.
No.
Okay, I've got one more question. Friends, anyone who's attending, do you have any more questions that you want to ask? Yeah, go ahead.
Have you ever, or someone had ever had to like hurry up really quick to make a molding and you messed up on it, or something had happened?
Yeah, so that's the downside to this entire industry and field is movie making is do it now, and we don't care about the logistics. So it's very fast paced. If they want something tomorrow, it better be done tomorrow. So we will do all-nighters all the time. It's totally normal to be up all night working on something. And then, yeah, we constantly messing up stuff, constantly messing things up, having to redo it really quick or bring more people on. You know, some projects are so big that we'll have to bring extra people in that don't even work for the company that just also know how to do the stuff. But yeah, we mess up all the time. Messing up is fine.
Have you ever watched the movie that you like did the clay stuff, or even have you ever had to have you watched the movie when you've made the like mold?
Yeah, of course. That's one of the most rewarding parts about the job is you do get to see something you made on the big screen in the movie theater, you know, on national television. And sometimes you totally forget, and you'll just be flipping through the channels like a year later, and you'll say that looks very familiar, and you'll realize that you made that. So it's very cool to see your stuff on that scale.
And
Did you have one more question, or was that all?
yeah.
One more? Okay.
Has someone hurt themselves by messing around?
Yeah. There's always some accidents going on, and we'll tell the prop people, the prop masters they're called, exactly what to do with the prop. You know, like it's safe, but you still don't want to go around smashing someone in the face with this thing, you know, unless it's specifically designed to do that, of course. But yeah, you know, people, they say they're professionals, but they're still gonna do whatever they want whenever they feel like it. So yeah, people get hurt. It's unfortunate.
Okay, I've got one more question for you, and then I think we're gonna wrap up. Who is the most famous person you've worked with, and what were they like?
Yeah, we've had some big people come in the shop. Some of the big guys, we've had Ryan Gosling pops in, and he was very nice, really cool guy. Ryan Gosling. Steve Buscemi was very cool. I got to rig him up with squibs. So sometimes I'll go on set for pyrotechnics, which can include anything from fake rain to a campfire or fake bullet hits, where we have to put squibs on a person, and those are remote controlled tiny explosives. So we'll glue that to a person, and then we'll put a little bag of blood over that, and then we'll hit a button and it'll pop and look like they got shot. So we got to shoot Steve Buscemi a bunch. He was very cool. Liv Tyler was very nice. I'm just name dropping. Naomi Watts, a big crush of mine. She was very nice. Zach Braff. I don't know. I could keep going, but yeah, I guess the biggest would probably be Ryan Gosling. He came in for some sort of training. Very cool guy.
Awesome. And I did get reminded, I've got one question in the chat I forgot to ask. So have you ever worked on the Supernatural show?
I don't think so.
Is that a West Coast production?
And that might be. I don't know where they shoot that, but that would be cool because I know they have a lot of cool monsters. So that would be really fun to work on.
Awesome. Okay, I think that's everything. Anyone else have any final questions you want to ask Nick? Okay, cool. Well, that's it. Thanks so much for joining us, Nick. We really appreciate it.
That was very fun. Thanks so much for coming.
Yeah, and all of our friends that are here, don't forget next month, our guest is gonna be Michelle Henneberry from Solon Strong Nutrition. She's gonna talk to us about her being an entrepreneur and having her own business here in Solon. So we will send that information out with more details on how to call in when that gets closer. But, oh, we've got one more question. Oh, can you say your company's name again, Nick?
Sure. The Specialists Ltd.
Yeah, and so you can Google that and you can see. Yeah, perfect. Okay, well, I'm gonna stop the recording.